Blessings, wondrous ones, here for a little full moon update. The full moon in Pisces is coming at us on August 30th, and I'm going to give you a bit of a download on some of the things that I'm seeing that will be affecting us on a personal level, and also just as I like to do, take a little bit of a look into our world at large, the geopolitical world, how it relates to our our sense of our spirituality and such, because the deepest undercurrent about what is happening in our planet and our galaxy even is that we are entering into this big shift of the Aquarian age. We are, those of us who have incarnated right now, we've incarnated to be alive in an incredible time of transformation and holy shift to the Aquarian age, which is an age where the fulfillment of it, at least, is where humanity comes to remember its divinity. But in order to get there, we're going to have to go through some more dark night of the soul kind of initiations, and, not to be the bearer of any kind of bad news, because sweet are the uses of adversity, as Will Shakespeare once said, one of my favorite quotes. But we are definitely in it right now. There's going to be a lot of challenges that are going to continue to come. But alas, it is the full moon, and the full moon is always a great time to spend in the vigil of meditation and contemplation, because this light that shines so bright in the darkness of the night is symbolic of this beautiful ability we have during a full moon to really look into our depths, look into our unconscious, look into our shadow, and try and integrate more of that. The spiritual life is really about growing the strength of our consciousness to really shine that light into the dark of our potential to actualize ourselves even more and more and more. And the full moon gives us that beautiful opportunity to really be in the brightness of our shadow, our unconscious, and to really see if there are some hidden things, hidden patterns that we need to address. A lot of people see this as a time also to release energy. So maybe there's some patterns in your life that you're looking to let go of. So you could do a little ritual to just energetically do that, or you could burn some intentions on a piece of paper. That's another great symbolic and ritual way to do that. This is a pretty powerful full moon. It's a supermoon, so it's very big energetically, and it's the second full moon of August. So we've had like 2 hits of this powerful lunar energy. Grandmother Moon is definitely churning our unconscious to help us see a few things, especially as we're still in Mercury retrograde. So there's a bit of a delay energy in the air. We're in that kind of more of a liminal space. And Pisces, of course, is one of the, if not some say, the most spiritual zodiac sign. It is the 12th sign. It's the last sign in the house. It's very connected to mysticism, to spirituality. It's watery. It's mutable. Some people regard Jesus as being a Pisces. I have Pisces in my south node, so I came from the age of Pisces. That's why I've always had a great affinity to more of the authentic teachings of Yeshua or Christ and Magdalene, who I believe Mary Magdalene is one of the most important characters helping us shift our perspective in this Aquarian age, as we are being inspired to be more unified in our consciousness, to overcome the dualistic thinking, and the recollection of Mary Magdalene and Yeshua as a conscious partnership really also symbolizes that unifying space, that the texture of this shift that we're going through, which is quite beautiful to apprehend, but also very challenging, because we've been conditioned, we've been educated, we've been socialized to be dualistic in our thinking, and we're seeing that play out right now, more and more and more in the political level. And I keep chiding people who are super attached to looking at politics just through the conventional egoic framework of like left and right, conservative, liberal, and in some ways this jostling between these two forces is getting more and more absurd. And I think it's waking more and more people up to the absurdity of this. Like, why are we being so hateful towards one another just because we've chosen, it's not even chosen, people actually just want to render you on one side. I mean, I've gotten into discussions online and arguments where I've tried to basically just call people into more of a center position, seeing left and right, 2 wings of the same bird type scenario. And people just want to just label you then right wing or something. There's just this like intensity about it that we have to be identified in some way. So that's continuing to ramp up right now. So bringing in that Piscean kind of detachment to spiritually just look at it and really get, maybe there's some deeper messages there that we need to get in terms of this dualistic thinking. How is it running our lives? Just looking at that, because it is now about, like, it's not about, duality is how this dimension works. But of course, we're starting to realize there's an opening to these higher dimensions where duality is a lot more thin, and there is much more of a unified state of consciousness, which we can become more and more aware of as we get more and more initiated through these earth changes and great awakenings. Because let's remember, a lot of these are Gaia herself, Mother Gaia, Mother Earth, who is our truest teacher of wisdom, who is activating us, and she herself is going through a heroic effort to help us overthrow millennia old tyranny. So there is a war on consciousness happening, and she has definitely got our back, got our support. And that's another thing that, to reflect on in this full moon is how much time are you spending in nature? It is important, I would say, for your daily bread to be out in nature every day for at least a few moments to really connect. Because as we continue on for the next 4 or 5 years are going to be really intense, but it's going to be quite intense for quite a while. We're really in this great age of shift, and it's really about humanity breaking the shackles of this very long, old, tired tyranny. And the forces that have been really propagating that tyranny are really up to all kinds of tomfoolery to try and stop humanity from going through this awakening process, because it threatens the very power structure that they prosper from. And of course, those of us who are, heightened in our spiritual practices, we are intuiting that there is this whole new earth, this whole new way of enlightened civilization that is already existing in the level of our higher mind. And it's just now about, like, how do we bridge it into our reality? And part of that is this inevitable collapse of this political system, and it might get really ugly, especially as leading up into the U.S. election, which is kind of this nexus for power. Although we just had the BRICS alliance, which is very interesting to follow that. This is kind of like the new kind of superpower that's shown up in the world to sort of challenge NATO and the G8. And, they've already said that they're going to be abandoning the US dollar. So we're seeing this, like, hegemony of America starting to collapse before our eyes, which is intense to see. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that election. But no matter what happens, and something we can definitely be regenerated at this little pit stop in our spirituality and full moon in Pisces, is that at the end of the day, the thing that's going to see us through, and Jesus really laid this all out in his teachings, which you can even glean from the Bible, as distorted as some of the tampering of that text is, unfortunately. It truly is about just loving one another. At the end of the day, seeing each other as part of one great, grander family. And our love is really being primed right now to do all these kinds of exercises with working with all these intense triggers of politics and stance on vaccines and COVID and all these different things. It's really about, how can we still, if we have really horrendously differing opinions, how can we still respect and love each other? Because the divide and conquer thing is in full swing. I've never seen it actually so potently being propagated by the media and our political leaders. And that's a very dangerous thing, especially as we're going through the earth changes and just so much intensity in our world. It's going to be really shaking us. We need to make sure that we can depend on each other, that we can really support each other in our rising. So bearing that in mind on this Pisces, definitely do some beautiful visualizations. I'll do a little visualization with us at the end of this for world peace. And, another theme that's coming through right now is that we're seeing kind of the death of the mainstream media. No longer do they have full control over the narratives of our world. So we're seeing this with what went down in Maui and Lahaina. If you follow, social media, TikTok, Instagram, what have you, there's a lot of residents on the ground, very smart, intelligent people who are going around. They're documenting what they're seeing. They're seeing that a lot of the areas are being cordoned off, that people aren't even allowed to go in and look at the sites of burns and fires. And there's just a lot of very suspicious stuff going on. In some ways, some people are calling it our 9/11. It seems like there was some kind of false flag there. The evidence is just too weird. It's just too strange. So I think that's really amazing, that more and more people are starting to, yeah, wake up and challenge this like never before. And the mainstream media is really, if you want to just see how much power they have lost, look at what happened when Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox, and I think he had about 3 to 4 million viewers a night, and he was like the top-rated anchor. And he goes over onto Twitter, now called X, and he absolutely just rocks it. Now he's getting like 50 million, 100 million viewers a night. It's in some ways, it's hilarious to watch as someone who came out of a media school background at university. I've really loathed the corporate media. It's been nothing short of just a huge intelligence operation of mind control. So to watch it lose its power is amazing. It's incredible. And of course, we live in this post-truth world now, so we have to be careful. We are supposed to do our own research. We are supposed to be sovereign. We are supposed to think for ourselves. But of course, we have to be very careful, because when we delve into things on the internet, there's just so much misinformation. And with AI and deepfake technology and all of this, it's going to get more and more intense. So another thing that this Piscean full moon is really hammering home is, as we become more divinized, or remembering of our divinity as we move into this Aquarian age in the next few years, and more so, it is going to be about trusting your intuition and really being able to live and trust in your heart what really feels right. And of course, that means we have to take care of our vessels, of our bodies, of our minds, through meditation practices, through yogas, through whatever spiritual practices you do, through diet, exercise, so that you're clear in that channel. It's often when we're filled with toxicity, if we're smoking marijuana too much, and all these kinds of things that can really muddy up the radio dial of our spiritual channeling, of our access to this greater mind. And that's one of the boons, one of the great revelations of our divinity, is this sense of being a Gnostic, that we have connection to the divine, and we have the ability to transmit, to channel, to intuit truth at any moment. And that's going to become more and more, trust me, it's going to become so vitally important as AI starts to really infest all of our information and social media. Things are going to get very strange and very weird. There's going to be a lot of disillusionment. It's also going to be important to come together in community groups. In the ancient mystery schools used to have what they were called mystery cells, where you'd be in a group of 8 people, and you would do your spiritual practices together. And that can be really important to have discussions about these things, get very conscious about what's going on in the world, and have a feedback loop within a group can be really, really potent. So that's another thing that's going to become very clear. And we're also witnessing, this grand financial collapse. It's slow burning, but it's happening. And who knows what's really going to go on. And there's obviously a lot of fear that comes with that, because our root chakra really is about, money and security. And, at the end of the day, we have to realize that the love of money is the root of all evil, as Jesus said, because it makes us greedy and it makes us selfish. And we are in this kind of new earth cycle. I think people are starting to see this in their mind's eye. They're seeing a world where we can almost be beyond money, where we can really live together and thrive using the sacred economics of Mother Earth, growing our own food, having our own sustainable systems. It's going to take a lot of work, because obviously we've been so conditioned in a culture that's not doing those things. But I think moving forward, that's going to become more and more important. And so, it's definitely hard times. It's a time to really be in support, and we're going to be more ushered into living in community as things start to really unravel. And these systems need to unravel. Just remember that, no matter how scary it may seem, these are systems that are unnatural, that are not good for our earth or good for our own souls. So it's needed that these things unravel. So bearing that in mind as well. And and just, reiterating, spend time in nature every day, because Mother Earth is exuding so much love to us, and the frequencies that are in nature are so profoundly healing. And this is going to be one of the most important things as we continue to move into more of this techno tyranny that is being attempted to be enforced in our world. And with AI and all these things, we have to really realize what is natural intelligence, not artificial intelligence. And in that, we start to realize we don't know a lot about our nature and nature itself. We've been quite consumed in a very human-centric world. But within that human-centric world, we're very ignorant of our spiritual giftedness and the divinity and sacredness of nature itself. So spending time in nature allows us to be in the consciousness of Mother Gaia, as she is the one also going through these tremendous shifts. And she's the one that loves us so dearly. She wants to take care of us. She wants to support us. So, pledging allegiance and devotion to her is so, so vital right now. And on this Piscean full moon, it's a great opportunity to go out, maybe do your full moon meditation out in nature and really look at, what is coming up as the bright light of Grandmother Moon shines into your dark of your unconscious. What do you need to integrate, to process? What do you need to release? Look at these things. Especially look at your sense of mysticism and spirituality. Is there things you need to tinker, maybe some new spiritual practices, or just re-enthusing some of your practices, making sure you're doing things like meditation on the daily. These are so important as we become more aware of our spiritual nature. So let's end quick with a little brief meditation. Let's just close down our eyes, finding your beautiful breath and breathing nice and deep into your belly. Let's let out a nice sigh to just ventilate any tension from our being, from our body, from our emotions. Start to just feel your body as you come to a nice tall spine, wherever you're seated. Just allow your awareness to unfold within your body, feeling a connection with the energy within you. You feel ready, taking your awareness into the center of your chest, imagining that your heart center is a beautiful, blessed star, amazing, infinite, loving light. And imagine that this is an incredible, powerful center within you that's directly connected to Source and all the realm of miracles of the higher worlds. And just imagine emanating from this bright, blinding light of your heart center, just emanating love into the world. Love that can reach and help those in need. Love that spreads out and also emanates on Mother Earth, all of her forests, all of her waters, all life forms. Sending a lot of love now to Maui, to all the victims, especially innocent children, sending love to their souls as they continue to make their passage to the higher worlds, to the innocent ones whose lives have been lost. Sending love as well to those people who have chosen to be proponents of this tyranny, who have chosen to close down their hearts. Sending love to those tyrants, inviting them back into the divine human fold. They can remember their lovingness, be in alignment with the grace of wisdom, and help us usher in this beautiful world of peace, the new earth. And lastly, starting to just imagine that world on this Piscean full moon, encouraged by the mystical, spiritual potentials of Pisces, just imagining a world of enlightened consciousness, a world where all humans have gone through an awakening process, are aware of Source, God, Goddess, Creator, the universal truth of our unity, not just all humanity, but with all life forms on Earth, all life forms beyond Earth, our star family, the whole cosmos. Feeling that sense of oneness, seeing what that would do to our Earth, to our civilization. Maybe imagining great architecture of beauty, great communities thriving in connection with the Earth and living in love and light. dutiful alliance with our darkness and our shadow, which is just a part of bringing sacred balance into our world, into our being. Seeing the whole earth shining with that awakening, the light of our essence, of our spirit, shining bright in all souls, reaching and teaching, guiding them all home to this haven in the heart, where our souls really preside over our lives, getting us in touch with the guiding realm of infinite wisdom. Seeing that light now shining throughout your whole body, blessing your life. So feel that connection with Grandmother Moon, pulling on her light, pulling on that energy of Pisces, enthusing our spirituality, our mysticism, our intuitions. As we feel ourselves filled with this divine human energy, remembering our beauty, our truth, as divine beings of this reality, knowing that we are here to help make this holy shift with grace, with peace and harmony. We are here to love and love and love, to be more and more embodiments of love, this great mysterious power of unity, great wisdom. Taking our hands together in front of our hearts, bowing into that blessed light, that blessed love, knowing that any moment we want to connect to our divinity, we just connect to this visualization of this beautiful star filled with this infinite loving light in our heart. We can send it to anyone in need. We can send it to ourselves. We can radiate this superpower of love, emanate it into the world that needs it so much. Loving the world awake. All right, coming back to the space. Thank you all for being here with me on this beautiful full moon. I hope you have a beautiful transit through Pisces, and sending you so much infinite love. Be glorious. May wisdom have your heart. Till next time.